Afternoon class. This is your teacher, Miss Judy N.C. Kataxiel. How are you today? Welcome to PE and Health subject, second semester, fourth quarter, week 6. Our learning objectives for this afternoon are: at the end of the lesson, students will be able to know and understand the main principle of training, describe the different principles of fitness and exercise training, and appreciate the importance of exercise principles to individuals training. The lesson that we are going to tackle this afternoon is about principle of physical activity and exercise training. Concept and introduction. Fitness standards are higher than health standards. People can get fit by becoming more active. However, you need to practice caution because doing more is not exactly doing right. There are safe and effective principles of training exercises that can help you improve and sustain your improvements while avoiding injuries. The following principles are important in designing an exercise program. Principles of exercise training. Principle of overload. It states that the body must work harder than what it is used to in order for it to adapt. It implies that exercise is a controlled form of stress that will stimulate the body to become stronger. For example, in order for a muscle, or including the heart muscle, to get stronger, it must be overloaded or worked beyond the usual load. The exercise science principle of overload states that a greater than normal stress or load on the body is required for training adaptation to take place. What this means is that in order to improve our fitness, strength, or endurance, we need to increase the workload accordingly. Next, we have the principle of progression. Principle of progression states that the body should experience a gradual increase in workload. If the principle of overload asks how hard, then the principle of progression asks how soon. The body will get injured if it experiences a workload that is too hard and too soon. The body should be given an ample time to recover and get used to the new workload. The rate at which the body adapts varies from one individual to another. A reasonable time frame is to increase the load after 2 weeks. However, it is recommended that you do not increase the workload by more than 10% from the previous week. A gradual and systematic increase in the workload over a period of time will result in improvements in your fitness without risk of injury. If overload occurs too slowly, improvement is unlikely, but overload that is increased too rapidly may result in injury or muscle damage. For example, the weekend athlete who exercises vigorously only in weekends violates the principle of progression and most likely will not see obvious fitness gains. Next, we have the principle of specificity. It states that the body will adapt specifically to the workload it experiences. It implies that improvement of fitness will be limited to the activities that one is performing. The application of this principle is not only on the movement or activity performed, but to the intensity at which it is performed. A person who trains for a marathon should not be expected to be able to lift heavy barbells. This principle highlights the importance of performing a variety of activities to improve overall fitness. We've all heard the phrase practice makes perfect. Well, this is the principle of specificity in action. This principle simply states that exercising a certain body part or component of the body primarily develops that part. The principle of specificity implies that to become better at a particular exercise or skill, you must perform that exercise or skill. Principle of individuality. It states that no two persons are the same and their rate of adaptation to the same workload differs. This principle emphasizes the need to create an exercise program that is individual specific. All individuals have different performance goals, fitness attributes, lifestyle, and nutritional preferences. They respond to exercise and its specific physical and social environments in their own unique way. It is therefore essential that the exercise program cater to these individual needs and preferences. The principle of individual differences simply means that because we all are unique individuals, we will all have a slightly different response to an exercise program. This is another way of saying that one size does not fit all when it comes to exercise. Well-designed exercise programs should be based on our individual differences and responses to exercise. Principle of reversibility. The adaptation that takes place as a result of training are all reversible, while an exercise program requires rest of the body to recover. Too much rest may be counterproductive. It is another way of stating the principle of disuse if your energy systems are not utilized. They deteriorate to a level that matches the level of activity. It indicates that disuse or inactivity result in loss of benefits achieved in overloading. It implies that when it comes to fitness, you do actually use it or lose it. This also explains why we decondition or lose fitness when we stop exercise. How do the principle of exercise apply to individuals training? So one of the easiest ways to see how the principle applies is to discuss what happens when you don't apply them properly. So this table below covers some basics using examples you are more than likely to encounter at some stage in a fitness or exercise training. So, principle, we have for individuality and specificity. So, in individuality, for example, Sue and Sally are both doing a group fitness class with weights for the first time. Sue is getting a sore back, while Sally is getting sore calves. They both seem to be doing the exercises in the same way and at pretty similar weights. So the conclusion of this example is Sue and Sally are different, so they are responding differently to the same exercise. Because Sue is getting a sore back while Sally is getting a sore calves. Next, in a specificity, example, John has been using group fitness step classes a lot to get ready for his cycling race coming up soon. So the conclusion is John needs to train more specifically. In order to improve his cycling, he must enough to get the adaptations he desires. Next, we have overload. So, for example, in overload, Jenny is struggling to walk for 2 days after a heavy weight training session and long spin class that she took back to back. So, the conclusion is Jenny overreached the volume of overload needs to match her capabilities is up her fit. Next, we have the principle of progressive. So, example, Mary made some great gains initially when she started lifting weights. She complaining now that weight training doesn't work. She hasn't increased her weights for the last 3 months. So the conclusion is Mary needs to work harder or more weights on her bar as she has adapted to the load she has on her bar long ago. Now there simply isn't enough weight to cause an adaptation. Next, we have the reversibility. For example, Tim is gutted. He's worked for 6 months to get into the police, but since his ankle injury 4 weeks ago, his running fitness has gone back to what it was some time ago. So the conclusion is Tim should have done some exercises on his legs, such as cycling or spin, to maintain as much of his fitness as possible while he recovered from his ankle injury. This would have prevented some of the reversing of his fitness. So that's all for our lesson this afternoon. I hope you enjoy and you've learned a lot. Thank you for listening. For your activity and for your quiz, just follow the GAITF link on your screen. Once again, good afternoon and have a nice day.